to win in Baton Rouge again ever. This is the year to do it. Colin, a lot of college football playoff impact games this weekend. Caden mentioned this. Whoever wins that game, Cincinnati and Notre Dame, even though Cincinnati will still be, there'll be that discussion of they beat Notre Dame. And again, we say this, it's only week 3, 4, 5. If Cincinnati has a win against Notre Dame on their resume and they can run the table, long way to go. Do they get in the playoff?
If they run the table?
If they run the table and beat Notre Dame,
if they beat Notre Dame, they were started the year highly ranked, but if they have a win against Notre Dame on their resume, and they'll probably lose because we said that about Houston one year. We said that about whoever. UCF's only one of the few that's been able to do that. But if they do run the table, and who knows, Brigham Young might run the table. Hell, we don't know, right? It'd be chaos. I want chaos.
I mean, so what's your question? Do they make it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It depends on what's going on around the rest of the country.
Yeah, but
that's the thing.
I think, yeah, because the SEC is getting in one, no matter what.
Yeah.
The Big Ten's getting in one, no matter what. Now, they've been left out. The Pac-12 and Big 12 know what it's like to be left out. Has the ACC been left out?
No, they've made it every time because
of Clemson?
FSU and Clemson.
Okay.
FSU the first
so
time.
So they've not been left out.
Well, they would be probably the leading candidate to be left out at this point, I would think. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, at least the Pac-12 has Oregon right now.
And that's in favor of Cincinnati of what you're saying, because the ACC right now is like, oh, my God, who are we?
Yeah, so, I mean, if there was a year for somebody like that to do it, it appears that this year would probably be the year to do it. I mean, even the Big 12, the top of it looks a little fragile, like not bad, but I mean, Oklahoma doesn't look like some unbeatable team right now. Texas has already taken a loss. I mean, everybody's looked a little shaky at some point or another. So yeah, I mean, if they were to beat Notre Dame and then run the table, which is getting really ahead, but in that theory, then yeah, I think that they could knock on the door a bit. I'm not sure if they'd eventually get it opened, but
again, with the ACC and the Pac-12 both, I mean, I say that Oregon is good, but if it's second, if the ACC is going to be out,
but you trust them to run the table?
No, I don't. I don't trust many people to run the table.
They might just lose to. I don't know what their schedule is, but they could lose it randomly to Stanford or Arizona State or someone like that.
Well, I don't trust many people to run the table, but if there's going to be Power 5 conferences with 2 losses, I don't trust Cincinnati to run the table. I mean, it's just going to be hard. It's hard for anybody to do. It's like that question that somebody will inevitably ask. Well, what if there's 6 undefeated teams at the end of the year? Then yes, then that would be true chaos. That would be absolutely chaos. But no.
I'm interested, too, just brought up that Auburn-LSU game. I think LSU's a slight favorite in that one, and Auburn's trying to figure out a little bit about quarterback situation. I haven't seen an update on that, but I know that they were, looking at that. But that should be a great game, and I bring that back up because I think even the SEC, to an extent, is going to eat each other up, this year. I think there's Alabama, and then there's Georgia as well, right there in that tier, and then everybody else. But if Alabama and Georgia, I mean, they're going to – good news, the great news with the SEC is that they'd at least have to play each other. There's no avoiding Georgia gets away unscathed and Alabama, they at least are going to have to play each other. But we know how that goes. If they're both unbeaten or, whatever.
Hell, it could happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, probably not, but it can.
I think the point is that the whole damn thing's wide open right now.
I love it.
For
Chaos.
Everybody. Yeah, even if there are a couple of teams that seem like they're, assured of something, there's nothing assured right now. I think it's great.
All right, we have a guest coming up today at 4, and so we'll do that, and it's going to be a graphic presentation from Tony Altimore, and it's pretty neat, and we hope you are around when that happens. We'll have that for you at 4 o'clock today, and then also Dan Luss, sports law attorney, will talk about the National Labor Relations Board and what came down a couple of days ago. We'll have that as well. On the chat room, Larry Switzer. My Sooners are going to lose, unfortunately. I have it in my gut. Don't tell Barry. I love that name. Larry Switzer, thanks for that. Caden, Virginia Tech, Clemson, maybe Florida State. This is about the ACC. Care about football there, but they are laying down with a bunch of dogs and covered in fleas.
Well, it's a basketball conference. It's at the heart of it. Okay, most of the schools in the ACC, well, not the most anymore, but the ACC, where's the heart of their conference? It's in North Carolina. Wake Forest, Duke, UNC,
Tobacco
NC State
Road,
are all in the conference. They're in North Carolina. So it's a big basketball conference at its very core.
But they've won 3 of the 8 national titles because of Clemson and Florida.
Because of the 2 teams that care about football.
Well, how many of the SEC teams have actually won titles?
Yeah, not
Alabama and LSU, right?
But yeah, but the ACC does have a lot to think about in the long term of football. And part of the problem is I do think that the ACC for so long, and it's evident at Florida State, we're doing things how you did in the 90s. You kind of throw everything behind the one sport that you really like, and that's either football or basketball. And now athletic departments that are good are throwing everything they can behind everything. And football is especially football. No matter if it's good or not, or you like it or not, you got to throw everything behind football. And so it's a weird conference, the ACC right now.
Jay Bird said, okay, go ahead, Craig. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to go back to the Oklahoma comment from Harry. And I want to imagine in my head there's a whole clan of Switzers of Harry, Carey, Barry, Terry, Larry. The whole everybody. But, yeah, I mean, Oklahoma losing to K-State would not be anything new, right? I mean, that would just be commonplace, quite frankly. I do think Oklahoma's in trouble tomorrow. If they aren't careful, they play a game the same way they played it, like let's say last week, then that might cost them. Now, they do have a good defense. I mean, you can't say they don't have a good defense. That's why they've been able to win some of these games. But it's all going to come down to Oklahoma's O-line. Can they protect Spencer Rattler? Can they give him time? And can they have a run game? And if not, if they let people run through loosely like last week, then K-State's going to take full advantage of that. And all it takes is one Deuce Vaughn busted run to, put you on your heels. So Oklahoma treading lightly. I think they win tomorrow, but I do think it could get dicey.
From Jay Bird, Oregon starts a 3-week road stretch. Stanford, Cal, and UCLA. Hope we can survive it. That's from J. Bird. And again, they should be favored at every one of those games, but there's,
you never know, but I like their chances in that slate. UCLA is an interesting third game to play. I mean, maybe that could get crazy. Stanford, obviously you always got to be wary of them, but I like Oregon's chances. All you do have to be careful on the road.
Here's a comment from Sebastian Matson, Paul, in the ACC. Yeah, if you ask most ACC fans, if your team were to only win one sport in the next 20 years, which sport would it be? Virginia, North Carolina, Duke, Wake, NC State, Syracuse would all answer basketball.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they absolutely would.
You really think that way?
Yeah.
Like Baylor won the national title in basketball, and we know how big that was. Any team that wins it's just something they can be high on that forever.
I mean, I can see it. That's crazy to me because the football one's worth so much more than the basketball one is. In the grand scheme of things, it's way more important.
As a fan of a team in the ACC, I would love it if they won the national title, and I would love it if they finally won a College World Series one day, just because that's the only thing maybe they haven't done, those two things right there. But if you told me that was never going to happen, but every few years I'd get a football national title, I'd be like, look, if that's the deal I have to make with the devil, then that's the deal I got to make.
Yeah,
right.
No.
So, I mean, I do understand that, though. It's basketball country far more than it is that. I mean, we're broadcasting from Texas. I think the answer is very clear on what every school around here would want first and foremost. So, yeah, that's interesting way of looking at things that I hadn't thought about really, but yeah.
All right, if you want to answer that, your team, if you're an Alabama fan, they made a run in basketball, and that would have been great if you could have pulled that off. How many of you are at a fan base where you think your fan base would rather win the men's basketball title or a football title? Just curious. Might be overwhelming. Might be 80-20. I don't know. All right, when we come back, we'll take more of your text. We